Hey Frank, in the analytics era, obviously shots at the rim and three-point shots have kind of been celebrated, and also shots at the rim can often lead to free throws. So, how do you coach guys to get shots that could create free throws, regardless of what the referee would call?
Not sure exactly I understand your question, but we coach our guys to attack the basket. But if we see a crowd, to think extra pass. Obviously the free throw is the number one percentage play in the game. So if you can attack the basket and you have a good angle, where you can either get a high percentage look for a layup or get fouled, that's always the top priority. But we just don't want guys forcing. If there's a crowd there, that's when we teach them to play extra pass basketball.
Hey Frank, Mike Trudell back in LA. Obviously, Jokic and Murray both had the foul trouble, and just wondering, when they were on the court together, what did you think of the defense, the way that you guys tried to deal with their screen roll action, and I'm sure you expect that they will be on the floor more from game two.
I do expect that, and we did a few things well, but we have a lot of room for improvement in terms of guarding their screen roll, their get game, their pass and cut action. The way they force mismatches. We can do a lot better in game two, hopefully, than we did in game one in those areas. But I thought we did some good things.
Frank, there was a point in the second quarter, I believe, that LeBron looked like he tweaked his ankle, and then he left the court a little early. At the end of the game, I assumed to get some treatment on it. Can you give us an update on how that is, if it's been bothering him, and what kind of attention he's needed to give to that?
Yeah, are we changing how we're listing him?
I'm not sure. We'll have that after practice.
He rolled it, but he shook it off very quickly, and he should be good to go for tomorrow. Yes.
All right, Allison?
Kyle Goon?
Sort of following up on Dave's question, a slight tweak to that. LeBron's shot chart in these playoffs has been very much like at the rim or three-pointers. And obviously in his career he's had a pretty fearsome mid-range game, but that sort of gravitation to maybe what we call an analytics-driven approach, has that been driven by him? Has it been a coaching point, some combination of the two?
It is definitely a coaching point. We want to have an analytics-based shot selection mindset, with our team. And, in that priority, the free throw number one, the layup dunk number two, corner three number three, arc three number four, and mid-range is the fifth priority shot we can have. But I will not ever tell my team not to take mid-range shots if they're open shots. The number one analytic for me is, are you open or are you guarded? And that applies to shots at the rim, applies to the three-point line, applies to mid-range. I'll take an open shot over any zone that you can put the shot from. We want to work for open shots.
Okay, Dan?
Hey, Frank. Have you made a decision on that, whether your family is going to come? And what does that look like in terms of when they get here, when they quarantine and all that stuff?
Yeah, it's still up in the air.
What are the considerations?
Well, it's not easy to do. That's the number one thing is, I believe there's a lot of layers to it, starting with the 7-day quarantine, which is difficult for families with kids that are in school and sports and all those types of things. So it's difficult to do, but it's something we'll continue to measure.
Sam, anything?
Sure.
Okay.
Frank, Coach Malone had a few things to say post-game about the officiating in the first half, and I wonder, objectively, when you looked at that film, just what thoughts did you have about how much of that action you guys earned versus, maybe the whistle going your way?
We were definitely the aggressors in the game, and box score I got right here has us with 28. We got called for 28 fouls. They got called for 26. So.
All right, back to you, Will.
All right, I have a couple more. Brad Turner.
Hello, Frank. Good afternoon.
Hi, Brad.
You started Dwight Howard in the second half. He played, exceptionally well. How much consideration have you given to starting him tomorrow after the game?
I'm considering that, but I won't release our starting lineup until tomorrow night, 30 minutes before the game.
All right, Coach, I will take two more. Let's go to Alan Slewa.
Hey, Coach, just out of curiosity, is from game 1 to game 2, is that typically where the most adjustments and changes are made on both sides? Just because you got your, I guess you could say, your first look at the Denver Nuggets, Denver gets their first look at the Lakers. Is that where most of the adjustments come in, or is it changing just game to game?
I think it changes game to game. You know, I typically think that, you know, both teams in a playoff series, not our playoff series, but in a playoff series, you know, coaches typically look at what they did and, for the most part, measure, can they do what they did better, as opposed to, you know, massive changes. But, you know, you do see it from game 1 to game 2. You know, I don't know how that applies to the series, but typically I feel like it's more into game 3 and game 4 before you see major shifts.
Frank, the adjustments that you expect Denver to be making heading into game 2, as a coach, do you tend to try to anticipate them in terms of planning for them before they actually happen? Like
Absolutely.
Or do you tend to make the players aware of them but tell them to wait to see it happen? Do you understand what I'm asking? Like in terms of how proactively?
I fully understand it, and we definitely do that. You know, after each game, you know, we watch the tape and we come in as we're watching tape and saying, you know, hey, game 2, this is probably what Denver's going to do. You know, and we go through that list so our guys have thought about it, prepared. If they do this, we'll do that. You know, those types of things. And, you know, it's conversational, and it's something we do talk about in between every playoff game.
Good here, Coach.
All right, Kyle, I think he has one more to wrap up.
To follow up on what BT was asking about the centers, how hard is it when the stakes are so high and you don't want to give up one game and be like, I might want to make a change, but maybe somebody just had like a bad game? How do you balance those factors?
Yeah, case by case. You know, you just you measure, you know, how quickly you want to make a move. You know, you always want to have moves to make. You know, in terms of, you know, you don't want to just start with your plan C or D. You know, you try plan A first and see how that works and see how that plays out. You know, and then it's a case by case, game by game, series by series type of evaluation. You know, and I typically won't cement any decisions until the morning of game day. You know, we'll have a post-game feeling of where we're at, how I feel about it. We'll watch the tape, measure it again the next day, have an idea of where we're going without putting it in cement, and then sleep on it, you know, that next night, and then wake up that morning with the plan.